The family of Simone Jasmine, better known as the Queen of the South, has rubbished claims that she was involved in murder or attempted murder. Jasmine's believed to have led a ruthless drug gang in Wentworth, Durban, which supplied heroin to townships around the city. She was laid to rest today after being shot dead last Thursday by a group of men. ENCA's Litiwe Mdluli reports.
A send-off fit for a queen. Friends and family of the late Simone Jasmine gathered on Marine Drive, the Bluff, where a fancy motorcade made its way into her home for a final goodbye.
On the 30th of October 2020, Simone Jasmine was shot 6 times while seated at the back of an Uber in the township of Wentworth in Durban. Jasmine had just got inside the car when a group of men carrying AK-47s ambushed her and shot up the car. The driver of the Uber fled on foot for his own safety when the shots rang out. However, Jasmine was shot 2 times in the chest, 3 times in her stomach and once in her leg. One of her killers even opened the door of the Uber and shot her at close range before the shooters fled. The driver of the Uber returned to his vehicle when the gunman ran away and rushed Jasmine to the hospital, where she would die of her gunshot wounds.
Mustard out of gold. And see what's been published in the papers and all is not true. She wasn't involved in any murders, and and she's never ever been convicted of anything. So I don't understand why people are talking a whole lot of nonsense and posting their rubbish comments on Facebook. We're suffering over here, Mustard a good out. She helped a lot of people. She wasn't a bad person.
At the time of her death, Jasmine was out on bail. She was due to appear in the Durban Magistrates Court in 2 weeks, along with 5 other men. She was facing charges of murder, attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Before her death, Jasmine was a notorious gang leader. In the streets of Wentworth, she was known as the leader of the cartel, one of the most violent street gangs in Durban. It is said that the cartel was formed by Jasmine in 2017, and their main source of income was drug distribution. The charges of murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy to commit murder came after Jasmine, along with other members of the cartel, were arrested in August 2020, 2 months before she was assassinated. 5 members of the cartel, including the mastermind of the gang, Jasmine, were arrested for a shooting which occurred on the 10th of July 2020 at Gulmel Crescent in Wentworth, whereby 2 men were shot. 24-year-old Bradley Armigam, one of the 2 men who was shot, died in the hospital, while the other was hospitalized with gunshot wounds. According to the anti-gang unit in Durban, these back-to-back shootings were likely caused by an ongoing war that had escalated from a drug transaction gone wrong between the cartel and drug dealers linked to the Umlazi taxi industry.
What do we do? What went so wrong that the colored people are neglected? We're dying, our children are dying. It says that the children will bury their parents, but we're burying our children. Why must it go on? We're SEPs to fight with us. Where are they? They get a salary every month, but nothing gets done.
Wentworth is a small township in the middle of Durban, and for the past 6 years, the community has been living under constant terror from bloody gang wars. These gang wars are caused by a recently established, booming and lucrative heroin drug market.
About nothing else but drugs. If you look at it, every young boy who gets shot, if we as honest parents look at it, we know that that person was selling drugs. We know that that area was selling drugs. This is what it is about gang related also, but some of them are not gangsters. No, they're here to try and make a living. Some of them are honest. Some of them make this living because they got families. There's no job.
The city of Durban is home to one of the largest and oldest heroin markets in South Africa. As the market has grown over the years, a unique method of processing and distributing heroin has come to be widely used. Street gangs are now packaging it inside pill capsules. In the early 2000s, when the heroin market was in its infancy, it was largely sold in plastic-wrapped chalk sticks, known as dongas. After this, heroin began to be packaged in straws, which involved a lot of manual labor to prepare. However, as of recent, pill capsules have become a more common and more profitable way to sell heroin. In March 2019, during a 50 million rand drug bust at an upmarket mansion in Durban, the Hawks had discovered an underground laboratory, which had equipment designed to manufacture thousands of heroin capsules. They discovered capsule pressing machinery along with thousands of empty capsules, with police estimating that 10,000 capsules containing heroin were being manufactured per day at this lab. Street gangs in Durban, for the past 7 years now, have moved to selling cheap heroin, packed into pill capsules, using automated pharmaceutical capping machines. These machines basically fill the capsules with small grams of heroin, and they can make up to 25,000 pills an hour. According to police, the empty capsules are generally imported from China and India to Durban. Both capsules and machinery are readily available to buy. 1,000 Type 4 capsules can go for 2,000 rands. The machinery required to fill the capsules with heroin, however, is said to be very expensive. It can cost about 250,000 rands, and it could be operated by one person. 1 kilogram of heroin can make about 25,000 pill capsules, with a street value of up to 375,000 rands. Once inside the pill capsule, the heroin can be easily distributed to users who do not ingest the capsules, but they pull apart easily, and the drug is generally smoked or injected. These heroin-filled pill capsules, known on the street as caps, are sold for around 15 rands each, cheaper than a loaf of bread.
I'm feeling high, very high. Very high. I'm very relaxed at this moment. This will last me for approximately maybe half an hour.
Heroin capsules are far easier, cheaper and quicker to produce than the plastic straws containing heroin manufactured before. Durban is the only city in South Africa where heroin dominates the drug market, and it is all because of this new way of distributing it. Rates of addiction and murder have surged in some of the city's poorest neighborhoods, such as Wentworth, which are becoming increasingly hit by rising unemployment rates and drug addiction. Gun battles are common in Wentworth, with innocent bystanders often becoming collateral damage. It was here, in Wentworth, when Jasmine founded a drug-selling gang, called the Cartel, 5 years ago in 2017. Her base for selling heroin was in Lansdowne Road, in a complex of tenement flats called the Barracks. To the people of the barracks and surrounding homes, where poverty and unemployment is at an all-time high, she was revered, respected and given hero status. She was the one who would pay someone's electricity bill if they had problems. She was the one who would come with food parcels to struggling families. In the complex of the barracks, she would hire jumping castles for the children on weekends, buy school uniforms, throw parties and have Mother's Day and Father's Day events, fully catered with biryani, snacks and cool drinks. The price the residents of the barracks, however, had to pay was that their patch of land was the center of weekly drive-by shootings.
Our community is divided, eh? Let me be honest with you. Depends where you are, depends who knows you. That section will speak well of you, all right? If someone else, another drug dealer or perhaps alleged drug kingpin had died, that wherever he or she lives, those people there would have spoken well about them also because of the work that they do in the community. They do a lot of good work in the community where they are. But truth be told, drugs are killing our community.
The Black Widow was her street name in Wentworth. This was due to Jasmine's associations with 3 drug lords from the community, all of whom were killed in the ongoing gang battle before she began trafficking drugs. Police assert that in addition to peddling drugs on Wentworth street corners, Jasmine also worked as a distributor. She was successful in opening lines of distribution to dealers in the Umlazi, Lamontville, and KwaMashu townships after founding the cartel group. She was these dealers' primary source of heroin. According to estimates, the cartel group made about 200,000 rands per day from drug sales, and Jasmine is believed to have invested the money on real estate and Uber cabs. Jasmine, however, had numerous issues as a result of the conflicts that frequently developed from providing drugs to a huge network of gangsters. Police claim that in 2019, following a botched drug transaction, there were difficulties between the cartel and drug dealers connected to the Umlazi taxi industry. A major member of an Umlazi gang connected to the taxi sector is said to have been murdered by Jasmine's crew, who then dumped his body in a field. In retaliation, members of the Umlazi gang opened fire with AK-47s inside a barracks apartment, thinking Jasmine and her crew were inside. This was when the recently founded SA Police Anti-Gang Unit started putting pressure on investigations on Jasmine and her cartel gang. The Anti-Gang Unit raided the Wentworth police station in September 2020, a few months before Jasmine's murder, and there they detained Warrant Officer Brian James, who detectives believe has ties to the cartel gang.
How come this man's not in handcuffs, Lenny? Yeah, but let him put handcuffs now. How it feel? I'm not taking photos. Freedom, they say. This is freedom, Lani. This is freedom. This is freedom. This is freedom. This is freedom. This is freedom.
This happened only a few weeks after the anti-gang unit, Hawks, and crime intelligence collaborated to arrest and charge other gang members, including Jasmine. Jasmine was granted bail, but the other members of the gang were remanded in detention, despite the fact that the group was charged with murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy to commit murder. In October, she was scheduled to return to court. Jasmine's death occurred on a Thursday in the emergency room of a Durban hospital, despite the numerous safety measures she had taken over the previous few weeks, including never using her own vehicle for travel, having other people make reservations for her e-hailing taxi cabs, and never following a routine. She was assassinated by assassins who, according to her neighbors, had been following her for days, minutes after someone else ordered her an Uber that picked her up on Marine Drive. According to a detective who was present at the scene, the assassin shot her at least 6 times, twice in the chest, 3 times in the stomach, and once in the leg, after making a U-turn to catch up with it. 5 shell casings and 1 hull bullet were discovered by police at the murder scene.